Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing the bullish breakout from this bullish price pattern in the short term, which means I'm still currently in this Bitcoin long position on my BTNX account, $250,000 Bitcoin long position, but I've just now opened a new $100,000 Bitcoin long position over on my 2bit account, which I'll talk about in just a moment, as the Bitcoin liquidation heat map is revealing new price targets above the price of Bitcoin, as the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates are actually flipping negative below neutral, which is something we need to pay attention to, while the price of Solana is quickly approaching this major level on the price chart, and the price of XRP is now starting to confirm a breakout above this critical level on the price chart here. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, we need to take a look at some news today. First of all, we saw new CPI inflation numbers come in just earlier in the day at expectations. So the expectations was, of course, 2.9% year-over-year inflation, and we ended up seeing 2.9% year-over-year inflation for the CPI inflation rate. And so, in other words, this was relatively neutral for the market. It did cause a small amount of short-term volatility on this 4-hour candle close right here, as we could see a bit of a scandal candle. We saw a quick dip and then a quick pump, but overall just relatively neutral, a small amount of volatility because we got the expected outcome. And in some other news today, some Bitcoin news today, we have the largest net inflow into the spot Bitcoin ETFs that we've seen in weeks. So after a few weeks of seeing some relatively small inflows, a few outflows here and there, once again, we just saw a massive net inflow of over 741 million US dollars. And this was the inflow on just Wednesday. So in one single trading day, obviously a major net inflow, which is going to cause some buying pressure, pushing the price higher in the short term for the price of Bitcoin. So obviously this is some good news, and with the CPI inflation numbers coming in at neutral, that's also some neutral, if not good news. Now that it's behind us, once again, we can potentially see a little bit more of a short-term bullish relief. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, on the weekly time frame, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, technically we still have that massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which is not yet invalidated. So this technically means, in terms of the larger bull market here, in terms of what we could be expecting over weeks, if not months, we're still technically in a bit of a slowdown period in the market, lacking bullish momentum compared to what we saw back here, for example, massive bullish momentum. We're simply not in that stage in the market, at least not right now. But as I always say, understand the difference between the different time frames. We can perfectly see a shorter term bullish move or short term bullish relief on a slightly smaller time frame, while we're potentially still kind of lacking momentum on the larger time frames here. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, like I've already been saying over the last 1 week or so, we're now slowly moving towards a bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, which is a sign of a short-term bullish recovery. And the last couple of times, of course, we did this in the MACD indicator, and looking at the price of Bitcoin, we did end up seeing some short-term bullish moves that played out over days, if not even a couple of weeks, give or take. So it is quite likely we'll continue a little bit more of a short-term bullish relief, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously, as I've already been saying over the last 1 to 2 days, we're now technically starting to invalidate this bearish divergence on the daily time frame. Remember, we still have the one on the weekly time frame not yet invalidated, so technically still active. But on the daily time frame, like I've already explained recently here on the channel, once again, we're starting to see a bit more of a bullish relief or bullish reversal now in the daily Bitcoin RSI, breaking out above some previous highs in the RSI, which is a sign of strength for the price of Bitcoin, likely going to result in the price pushing a little bit higher, at least in the short term. And if we're looking at the latest daily candle close, this confirms pretty much right on 114,000, just above this very crucial level right here, sitting at close to 113,500. So obviously this is another bullish signal in the short term, breaking out above this key short-term resistance here. And the next significant resistance to watch out for is at close to 117,000 based on this Fibonacci level, and also based on previous significant resistance and also previous support, all sitting at around 117,000. And also, as I've already been saying many times recently here on the channel, clearly the short-term trend just on the 4-hour time frame is simply bullish. Obviously, previously we were in a a short-term bearish trend for a few weeks or so, forming lower highs and lower lows. But now the price of Bitcoin is forming higher highs and higher lows, obviously a shorter-term bullish trend. And for the last few days, the price was being held down by this resistance right here, sitting at approximately 113,000 to 113.5k. But once again, now that we're breaking out above that level right there, above 113,000 to 113.5k, once again, that's another short-term bullish signal. And for as long as we continue to hold above 113,000, the next major target is at around 117,000. And now, obviously, if we were to break back below around 113,000 with, for example, a 4-hour candle close back below 113k, in that situation, just in the immediate short term for the following hours or maybe the following 1 or 2 days, that would be a bit of a bearish signal. Maybe we would retest some of these lows, like for example 110.9k or closer towards 110,000 if we were to break back below 113,000. But for now, we're still looking pretty good just in the short term here. And if we're taking a look at this 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, once again, like I explained in my last video, we now have an active bullish breakout for this bullish ascending triangle pattern with a bullish price target in play sitting at approximately 116.5k. So just before we reach that major resistance at 117,000, it's possible we might even start finding resistance slightly before that, closer towards this price target, once again at around 116.5k. And so definitely remember those key levels on the price chart there, which I'll talk about in just a moment. I'll come back to those levels when it comes to my trading strategy. And of course, as always, if we were to see a break back below this level right here, below the point of the breakout, in that situation, that would completely invalidate the pattern and invalidate the price target and invalidate the trade altogether. So obviously, definitely keep an eye on that level as well, which is also sitting at around 113,000. That is the level that we need to hold above in order to remain bullish and continue to play out this bullish breakout towards the price target. And so right now, if we're looking at my trading strategy, essentially over the last 1 day, this trade has not changed at all. Obviously, in my last video, I shared a $250,000 Bitcoin long position, 250k Bitcoin long position. Over the last 1 day, I've really made no new changes to this position. Stop loss still sitting at around break even, very slightly into profits, very slightly into profits. And then once again, like I explained in my last video, my trading strategy moving forward for this long position is to keep the position open unless of course ultimately gets stopped out. So if we were to break back below 113,000, once again, that would invalidate the trade and they'll just close this trade automatically in some slight profits here in that worst case scenario. But ideally, obviously, if the trade ultimately continues, we continue the bullish breakout here. In that situation, my major take profit points is of course closer towards this price target right here and closer towards this next significant resistance. So really at close towards around 116,000 to 117,000 just before we start hitting these levels on the price chart, I'll start taking some decent profits out of these long positions right here. But I'll not necessarily close the entire trade at any one of those levels, just slightly reducing the size of the trade at each of these levels in case we were to reject from those levels. Obviously, in that circumstance, I would have already taken profits around those points of rejections. But like I just said, I'd not close the entire trade in case the price just continued pumping towards the upside, breaking out above this point of resistance. Of course, in that situation, I'd still want to have at least some of a long position still open. So that's what I'll do in that situation, still have some of the long position open, but just slightly reducing the size of the trade at these levels on the price chart, these take profit points. Not financial advice, I'm just letting you know what I'm planning to do with this trade. And for those of you that missed this entry point right here, pretty much right now as of recording this video, literally right now, and even at a higher price than what I recorded my last video, I just now opened this new long position over on my 2bit account, a new $100,000 Bitcoin long position. As you can see, it's currently sitting at pretty much exactly break even right around my entry at close to 114,000. And so once again, not financial advice, but we technically still have an active bullish price target, and also considering the Bitcoin liquidation heat map revealing new liquidity just above the price at roughly 115,000. This means it's very likely, not a guarantee, no such thing as a guarantee, but very likely the price of Bitcoin will soon move towards the upside to take out that liquidity at around 115,000. And obviously that's what happened pretty much around 1 day ago. We had major liquidity at close to 114,000. We exactly wiped out that level, played out a bit of a sideways consolidation. We're likely now going to wipe out this next level very close to the price at around 115,000. Obviously, if that ultimately plays out, they'll push these long positions a little further into profits. But keep in mind, let's just say if we further push towards the upside, take out this liquidity at around 115,000. Above 115,000, we don't really have a lot of liquidity just above that level, at least right now, which means if we, for example, hit 115,000, the price might stop a little bit around there, kind of like what we saw over the last 1 day. Wiped out 114,000 and then started to just sort of chop around sideways. And so this is definitely the time in the market where you need to be set up ready to go in order to take these trading opportunities as soon as they happen. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here, the $250,000 Bitcoin long position over on BTNX. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it will take you to this page where you can claim massive trading bonuses. For example, up to 25,000 USDT in trading bonuses simply just by trading crypto using that link. So if you want to potentially claim major free money from the exchange just by trading crypto, definitely check it out. First link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX, once again, this other trade that I'm taking right now, $100,000 Bitcoin long position, is currently on my 2bit account. So I'll make sure to also leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim massive bonuses. For example, you can claim up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and also up to 8,000 USDT in actual cash USDT that you can withdraw from the exchange, free money from the exchange, just by trading crypto using that link. And on top of that, if you simply just make an account, do nothing else, just make an account using that link, you get a free $30 bonus onto your account and 1 month free VIP 3 upgrade on your 2bit account. So basically a massive reduction in trading fees and free money from the exchange simply just by making an account. It takes about 60 seconds to do this, no KYC, using that second link below this video to 2bit. And on top of that, there's also deposit bonuses and other trading bonuses, etc., which once again, all of this is only available if you're using that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, definitely check these exchanges out. First and second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, once again, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance, and right now on the 3-day time frame, we're still kind of just bouncing around sideways in the immediate short term, but technically still within the much larger pullback. We've not yet confirmed any bullish trend reversal signal. And so overall, this is good news for the altcoin market if the Bitcoin dominance remains in this larger pullback here. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, what is very interesting right now is despite the fact that Bitcoin and a lot of the crypto market in the shorter term is experiencing these short-term bullish reliefs, or some altcoins even experiencing much further pumps towards the upside, while this is happening, we're actually seeing very low funding rates, below neutral, and some funding rates even flipping into the negative. And so what this tells us is despite the fact that the price is going towards the upside in the short term, a lot of traders out there are wanting to short crypto, and not many people are looking to long crypto right now, which can actually lead to a short squeeze. This can make obviously shorting crypto more and more expensive as the funding rates go further into the negative direction, and it actually pays the long positions fees. So instead of the long positions paying fees, the long positions are actually earning fees, extra fees on top of the profits from the bullish price action if the funding rates are negative. And so this basically incentivizes short positions to close and long positions to open. And when a short position closes, they have to buy back into the underlying asset. So if they're shorting Bitcoin, they essentially add buying pressure to Bitcoin when they close that position. And then of course, if you open a long position, you're also adding buying pressure when you're buying or longing Bitcoin or other crypto assets. And so in other words, despite the fact that the price is already looking bullish just in the immediate short term, the funding rates are actually further financially incentivizing more bullish price action to play out, based on the current situation. And so this was just another one of the reasons on top of all of the other reasons I've shared in this video and my last video as to why I'm longing Bitcoin and crypto, not just with this position, but now doubling down and adding another $100,000 Bitcoin long position over on my 2bit account right now at the current prices. And also, if you notice the funding rates across Bitfinex and 2bit, once again, Bitfinex, very low funding rates right now, but 2bit, the funding rates on Bitcoin as of recording this video are actually negative, which means the longer I hold this trade open, the more I'm actually earning fees. Even if the price goes sideways, I'm actually making a little bit of passive income just by keeping this long position open if these funding rates remain negative. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now Ethereum is still bouncing around sideways in the same sideways price range that I've been talking about for weeks now on the channel. So nothing's really changed for Ethereum. We're still looking very neutral. Of course, that neutral price action is comprised of short-term bullish moves and short-term bearish moves, but ultimately we're just bouncing around in a sideways price range. And the area of support to watch out for is sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k, and the area of resistance to watch out for is in between 4.8k to 4.9k. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, like I already explained in my last video, I'll not really rely on this bearish divergence any longer, because usually a bearish divergence on the daily time frame plays out over around 1 to 2 weeks. And this bearish divergence right here, if we're measuring from when it basically confirmed right around here to where we are right now, that's been almost 3 weeks, around 2.5 weeks approximately for this playing out. And so this means that it's basically time for this bearish divergence to essentially invalidate. And now with Bitcoin and other crypto assets playing out short-term bullish reliefs, of course, this will likely influence the price of Ethereum just in the short term with a short-term bullish relief. It's a very likely outcome. And so honestly, what I expect in the short term is simply a slight bullish relief for Ethereum, but still remaining in this sideways price range. So expect something like this, for example, as a very likely scenario in the coming days. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 2-day time frame, obviously, like I've already been saying for a long time now on the channel, Solana is simply looking very bullish in terms of the larger bullish trend. We're still in a long-term bullish trend, forming larger bullish price structure, for example, higher lows and higher highs on the 2-day time frame. And this larger bullish price structure was simply further confirming recently over the last 1 to 2 weeks, ever since we broke out above this golden pocket here in between 190 to 200, and then actually held that as new support. That was very bullish price structure, which I've been talking about every day over the last couple of weeks since we saw that breakout. And so we're simply just continuing the larger bullish trend as we speak, but we're now quickly approaching this key level on the price chart here, this Fibonacci level, which is sitting at close to $230. So expect potentially some resistance at roughly 230. But if we see a confirmed breakout above $230, and especially if we hold that as new support, in that situation, it's extremely likely we'll come back up towards these highs, first of all, based on the daily candle closes, or the 2-day candle closes, I should say, sitting at just above $260, so at roughly 260 as the next major target above 230, and then above that would likely move towards around 295 to 300 as another significant level. But remember, the immediate level to watch out for is at around $230. And if for whatever reason we see a slight little pullback or short-term rejection, in that situation, expect some support at roughly 215, give or take. And once again, major support in this area if the price were to actually get back down there in between 190 to 200. And if we're taking a look at this 12-hour Solana price chart, like I already talked about in my last couple of videos, we have seen a bullish breakout already confirmed now from this rising wedge pattern, which typically a rising wedge is actually a bearish price pattern. So like I explained in my last video, because we've now confirmed the bullish breakout from a statistically bearish price pattern, this is a sign of strength for the price of Solana, likely going to result in more bullish price action. And once again, I talked about that in my last video, and since my last video just yesterday, we have seen more bullish price action as predicted. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, similar to Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, we still have a major bearish divergence to watch out for, which is technically not yet invalidated. But if we're taking taking a look at this daily XRP price chart, like I've already been saying over the last half a week, we already confirmed a breakout back above this key level here, sitting at around $2.90. And so that was definitely a key signal to watch out for the price of XRP just in the shorter term. And ever since then, ever since we broke out back above 285 to 290, I've been saying expect a continued bullish relief at least up towards around $3.08 to $3.10 as the next area of resistance to watch out for. And then only if we break out above that area, then we could potentially see a bullish relief all the way back up towards these highs right here, sitting at just above $3.30. But once again, the immediate resistance to watch out for is sitting at around $3.08 to $3.10. And if for whatever reason we see another slight little pullback or rejection here in the short term, in that situation, now expect a lot of support at 285 to 290 and more support at 275. And if we're taking a look at this daily XRP price chart, we've now technically confirmed one daily candle close very slightly above this descending line of resistance, but we're potentially about to see a second daily candle close, a proper daily candle close here, well above this line of resistance if it confirms anywhere near where the current price is sitting at as of recording this video. And so obviously, if we further confirm this bullish breakout from a descending triangle pattern, like I said for Solana, this is a sign of strength, because typically, statistically speaking, a bearish price pattern or a descending triangle pattern is actually a bearish price pattern. So now that we're breaking out towards the upside, obviously that's a sign of strength, kind of like Solana breaking out towards the upside from a rising wedge. That's a sign of strength pointing towards potentially more bullish price action following a confirmed breakout. And if we're taking a look at the technical price target for this descending triangle pattern here, now that we're starting to break out towards the upside, that's setting up a technical price target at just above $3.80. So obviously new all-time highs. And if we're measuring from the current price to that price target, that's around a 26% move towards the upside with no leverage. So obviously, if you're applying leverage, potentially a major trading opportunity. Once again, check out the links below this video to those exchanges to take advantage of these major opportunities. Not financial advice, but I want to make this clear, at least as of right now. Ideally, we still need to wait for this extra confirmation here to be a little bit more confident in this breakout actually confirming. And as always, if we see a break back below this line right here, so back below roughly $2.95, especially if we break back below around $2.90, that would completely invalidate this breakout and invalidate this price target. And also, as I always say, even if we have a bullish price target ultimately in play, activating a bullish breakout, of course, we cannot ignore other points of resistance where the price could possibly struggle at or possibly reject from, like for example $3.08 to $3.10, and also just above $3.30 as some key levels of resistance to watch out for. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink. Obviously, it's following the rest of the crypto market with a bullish relief, at least in the short term. And we're now testing some key levels of resistance, first of all, at just underneath $24, close to $24. We do have some resistance around there, but if we see a further breakout, the next resistance is just above $25, around $25.10 to $25.20, and above that, I would expect significant resistance at close to $27, around $26.80 to $27, which obviously I've been warning about since before we actually rejected from that level of resistance at these highs. And as for support, as always, if we see a breakout back above a key level, that will likely become new support, but for now, the support to watch out for is at roughly $22, and also down here, especially at close to $21 as well. We have a lot of support around there, and clearly the longer term trends, the larger price structure is still currently bullish. As I've been saying the entire time, whatever happens in the short term doesn't really matter, for as long as we're holding above around $20, we're technically still within larger bullish price structure. And if we're taking a look at this daily Chainlink price chart, we're now finally getting closer towards invalidating this bearish divergence. So obviously for the last couple of weeks, give or take, it's been perfectly playing out as predicted in the form of just a slight pullback, lacking bullish momentum, showing a lot of weakness. But if the rest of the crypto market plays out a short-term bullish relief, it's very unlikely Chainlink will continue to show a lot of weakness or bearish price action while the rest of the crypto market is playing out some bullish price action. So keep that in mind. It's likely Chainlink will follow the rest of the crypto market with a bit more of a shorter term bullish relief here. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, like what I'm doing right now, check out these exchanges, links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim these massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of easy and quick profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now, sharing very transparently here on the channel, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish price action or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.